Good morning. You're now listening to Kingston Community Radio, airing on FM 92.5 and AM 920 WGHQ, Kingston, New York. This programming is brought to you by our listeners and corporate underwriters who are interested in presenting local community radio. The opinions expressed on this program do not represent those of Pamel Broadcasting or Kingston Community Radio. Listeners are encouraged to send in $10 per month to help bring this program to you and mail your contributions to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. For more information or to donate online, visit our website at mykcr.org. And good morning. This is Dan Gaddis, hailing from uptown Kingston in our studios today. And thank you for being early birds like us and being with us this Friday, March 25th. It's Fridays with Dan and Fran today. And it's 39 degrees right now here in uptown Kingston. And we'll be right back after these messages.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest, cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Eleanor Arrow from the town of Ulster, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
And thank you for listening to KCR, Kingston Community Radio, WGHQ 920 on your AM dial, 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. Weekdays at 7 to 9 a.m. Partly to mostly cloudy today with a slight chance of a rain shower, high around 60 degrees, mostly cloudy skies early tonight. And then partly cloudy after midnight with a low of 37. So I think we're done with the rain. And Saturday, until Saturday, partly cloudy skies during the morning hours will give way to occasional showers in the afternoon. Pop-up showers, we say, 60% of a chance of that with a high of 53. And Saturday night, rain showers early with clearing later at night with a low of 33. So that was a 50% chance of rain Saturday night as well. And sunny on Sunday with a little bit of clouds, a few flurries or snow showers possible with a high of 43. And Sunday night, mainly cloudy with a few flurries or snow showers possible, going down to 20 Sunday night. And so let's prepare to get to the on-air studio with Dan Gruner and Fran Petrillo-Savoca, the Dan and Fran Show.
Here we go.
Dan and Fran Show with another Dan. I'm surrounded by Dans today.
That's right, and you got a Dan at home. So good morning, Fran. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
New and exciting?
Well, it's spring is upon us, and not exactly a nice spring day today, but my allergies don't really know what's going on right now. Which I remind people at work, I start sneezing.
It's just
allergies and not.
Welcome to spring.
You can pull the switch if you want.
Which one?
Right there.
This way?
It's actually called a cough switch. Just pull it your way.
Oh, I'm good.
Oh, just in. I was just
in case. I got you. Thank you.
In case for the sneeze.
Dan's always on it.
See what we learned. All right.
But yeah, we got a busy day ahead of us.
I was going to say, you have a great lineup this morning.
Yeah, we have Bernadette Rexford from Benedictine Health Foundation, who was one of the first guests of this show. And she's going to talk about our ski benefit that was on the 15th of March up at Plattekill Mountain, which was a huge success. And I won't steal her thunder. We got one of our long-standing events coming back in April. Mm-hmm. That's always a fun night. And, back in the swing of things, then we have Christine from Spot 21 at 8 o'clock. And then Dr. Paul Padalino, Superintendent of Schools, and Jim Shaughnessy, the President of the Board of Ed, to talk about changes at Kingston High School for the incoming freshmen next year in the honors program. And there's a lot of confusion out there about what it is, so I reached out to them and asked if they could come in and talk to us. Dr. Padalino's out of town, but he's going to phone in, and Jim's coming in. So, I have often said if you have questions or you don't like what you see going on, get involved. And so that's what I did. I reached out to Jim and asked him if he could come in. I will say that I've been absolutely bombarded with phone calls, text messages the last 2 days by parents and teachers. And so hopefully we can get things, cleared up. I had talked to Lawrence in advance, and we're not going to take call-ins during that time. I think we have a tremendous amount to cover.
Yeah, that's specifically 8:30 to 9. We can't take calls.
You want to give us a call before then, 331-9255. But the reason I approached Lawrence about that is I know people have a lot to say. Mm-hmm. I gave everyone and anyone the opportunity to send me questions via email, which many people did. I will say right now I'm probably not going to be able to get to all of them. And I tried to focus on the questions specifically towards our kids and education. There were a lot of other questions, but I didn't feel that's my duty to address those. So I apologize in advance if you sent me a question and it doesn't get asked. I had, I think, to start over 60 questions.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be rough to cover that in a half hour.
Yeah, it's just if you break that down, it's not possible. So, there are some common themes.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe there's some common themes.
There definitely is.
That's good, yes. Right. So maybe some of them roll into the others.
I can tell you what was encouraging and a little bit, not surprising, but I've talked to people from all walks of life the last 2 days. I had a woman call me yesterday. I had no idea who she was. I truthfully thought she was a news reporter when she started. Oh. She calls and she says, "Are you Dan Gruner?" And I said, "Yes." She says, "Are you the Dan Gruner?" I said, "Well, that's a loaded question." And she said, "Are you the son of Rosemary and Al?" And I said, "Okay." I said, "Before I answer anything else, could you mind telling me who you are?" And she did. And ironically, our cancer fund, I'm one person sitting here asking questions. And she pushed me to think about some things I probably wouldn't have thought of. So it was very encouraging. So anyway, what's happening with you?
Hopefully you'll get her questions in, since it was a different
to Dan's point, her questions fit in with the theme.
A few others, yeah.
Yeah, with a lot of others. There's definitely a common theme of, parents across the board want the best for their kids, as they should. Mm-hmm. And, that was really the
common theme.
Yeah.
That's great.
So.
Okay, good. So, yeah, it's going to be a busy morning. And
yes, it is.
I don't think there's anything too new. Let's see, what's new?
Well, the Shamrock Run and the parade were back, and it was a
big success.
Huge success. I haven't had that much fun in 2 years.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised and happy to do that. They asked me to MC the start of the run and honored Tommy Keegan, and it was really, and Ryan's Fund too. They were the beneficiary, the Kelder family and Ryan's Fund, and both families brought a huge turnout. And if you don't know what Ryan's Fund is, the Kelder family lost their son to drug addiction, and they decided to do something about it. And, as they said that day, and I wish I had it with me now, their goal was to change the conversation. And they have. They're not afraid to talk about what happened. And more as important, they're doing something about it. And the timing of honoring them was perfect because they just opened a transition house in Saugerties. And about 6 months ago. We should actually have Randy Kelder on.
Yeah, definitely.
Randy, give me a call. But the transition house, it's at the old Legion Hall in Saugerties, and they transitioned it to the transition house with the help of local contractors, and I know the Bruderhof was a huge help to them. And I was talking to Randy before the Shamrock Run, and there's meetings there every day. And all peer administered by people that are in recovery, and they've got a great support system. And, what I think is just, a testament to who the Kelders are, that they're just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And
they've already helped so many people.
So many people. And they help more people than we know about. Reminds me, I was telling my dad last night, he was calling me to wish me well this morning. And so I told him about the conversation I had with the woman yesterday. And he said, that's another reminder. You never know how many people you've touched.
This is true.
And the Kelders fit in that boat. So, and then Tommy Keegan, there was a huge turnout of the Keegans from Long Island, the Keegans from Kingston, the Keegan Army. So it was really a good day, and they actually moved the party. I don't remember if were you at Keegan Hills?
I was not.
So the AOH, the Ancient Order Hibernians, has always done their party at the White Eagle Hall. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, that wasn't going to happen this year, so they moved it to Keegan Hills. And as us Irish say, we know how to have a good time. And it was jam-packed. They had live Irish band, and there was a group of bagpipers that showed up, and I just happened to be standing there. I said, "Where are you guys from?" And they said, "Greene County." They said, do you own this place? I said, "No." And the guy said, "Well, who do we talk to? We want to play."
Oh.
And Lisa happened to be behind the bar, so I said, "Well, that's Lisa. You want to talk to her?" And so they ended up playing, and people dancing on tables, and it was a good old time.
It looked like a good time. I saw pictures and some video, and it looked like a great time.
Yeah, and shout out to the Shamrock Run committee because we got that snowstorm the day before.
Yeah.
And I was out early Sunday morning. It was cold, like 19 degrees cold. Mm. And I remember I was saying to myself, geez, I hope people come out and run. And I drove by Academy Green and Governor Clinton, and there they were with shovels.
Oh.
And salt, and, and they pulled it off. And
and it was a shame because they had such a good schedule planned to go to Keegan's to get your shirt on the Saturday, and that all got canceled.
I didn't get that memo. I showed up like a good little volunteer at 9:30 that morning, and nobody's there. And Lisa came out. Lisa comes out, and she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm here to help."
I'm here to help.
And so I went.
She's like, what, shovel?
Yeah, right. She actually had to lower the tent down because of this when it was snowing.
Oh, right.
And then Sunday morning, a bunch of people were there shoveling the snow off the tent so she could get it back up. And
all these little details, You know
what? That's what I love about that day. People just come together, and but it was a lot of fun. T. McCann Band played. The Celtic Heels performed. It was the spirit of the day was there, and I don't know. I should have asked, but I know despite the weather, there was well over 2,000 runners.
Yeah. I ran up early and got my shirt. I had planned on running, but I had hurt my foot the week before that, so it wasn't in the cards, but I got my shirt.
But yeah, it was the shirt was.
It's great.
You know,
Gail designed that. Right?
Gail Benson, who was here with us a couple weeks ago, designed it, and just
it's awesome.
If you really look at it, she captured every love that Tommy Keegan had.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Motorcycle, his dogs,
yep.
The brewery, City Hall. Yeah. Really cool. So, Gail, job well done as always. And so I think next year will be the 35th annual.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Who would have thought?
I know. It doesn't seem possible. But boy, that makes you feel old, doesn't it? 35th annual.
No. I'm only 38, Fran.
Oh, so right? You were 3 when it started?
I just turned 47, actually.
Oh, yes. Happy birthday.
Yeah, we had fun that night.
Yes. Yep. There you go. Who knew?
Fran surprised
the whole gang.
That was some dinner with some friends, and Fran showed up, so it was nice.
Yeah. So.
But, all right, so 7:16, and Bernadette will be here at 7:30, and
if anybody does, any listeners have suggestions of upcoming guests, they can always call us, right? And let us know your thoughts, or if you have questions, like Dan said, can't take them between 8:30 and 9, so call now if you have anything. And
that's 331-9255.
You beat me to it, Dan.
Okay, right. Okay.
I was at Loud Canard last night. I was looking for you.
Oh yes, I was off last night. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, I hope you had a great dinner. Of course.
It was fantastic, and as soon as the waiter said, "In the specials, we have the lamb chops," I said, "I need nothing more."
Right.
Say
yes,
nothing
yes.
more. I don't need a menu.
You know, it was
The
funny.
rack of lamb. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I go there quite a bit on my birthday, and it was about 5 years ago, and he didn't have the lamb chops, and I'm like, wait, what? And so John Jock came out, and somehow he found out it was my birthday, and blah, blah, blah. I said, you got to be kidding me. You don't have the lamb chops. And he says, you want lamb chops? I said, well, yeah, but he says, I actually have some. My father says, well, I want them too.
So we had 2 sets on deck, but we didn't have them as a special that night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
we often do have things on deck if somebody really requests something like that. Shrimp Indochine, for instance. People love that.
Good. That's actually my second go-to.
Yeah, and
both my go-tos.
we oftentimes don't have it on special, but we usually have the shrimp handy.
I'm going to make a public plea for him to bring back the Caesar salad.
Yeah. Oh. There you go. There's the public plea.
Yeah, there it is.
Come on,
Please,
John
Jock. Bring the Caesar salad
It's the best
back.
one I've ever had.
Oh, so it is.
It really is.
Table cider, whatever. It doesn't matter. It is the best.
Yep.
And is it the app that I like, the Coquille Saint Jacques? Is that?
The Coquille Saint Jacques, that's an entree.
It's an entree?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's a
What
nice.
is that one?
Coquille is male chicken.
Oh, I was there with Bobby Ryan.
Yeah,
took
with
me
I
out
think
for my
a kind of a red sauce. If I
birthday
remember.
last night. He had that.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay.
He said it was outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Everything.
No,
there
I'll
is.
tell you what. We were there pretty early on a Thursday night, and it was busy.
Yep.
And you know, unfortunately,
Good.
we were talking last night. You know, another restaurant announced they were closing this week. The List Bar.
Oh, are they closing?
Yeah, over on Foxhall.
We were there. Like I was surprised to see that because I did see it too, and we were there maybe early last, kind of late in the season last year, and they were booming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
When
you
they
know,
had the outdoor
yes.
part.
Oh, the
yeah.
outdoor part was where we sat.
And I thought
yeah.
they were still doing okay. I'm a little
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah, I guess it was more of like a personal decision.
Okay. That's. I hate.
You know,
to
I'm
see
a
another
creature
one.
of habit. Like I never thought to. You know, I live uptown, and you know, you can
Yeah, I mean restaurants.
walk or
are-
go to be at the
Yeah.
Hoffman House or you know, La Canard in 2 minutes, and you know,
Exactly.
I just
But,
kind of I got to get out more.
Every one of the restaurants are a personal inspiration from somebody.
Yeah.
And
hate to
if you
see
want to or change your, lifestyle, or it's been too much pressure or something like that, makes a lot of sense, or you just want to retire.
To close, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
late.
you say a personal decision. So I moved back here 18 years ago after my mom passed away. And I was renting a house on Main Street, right down from St. Joseph's Church. And, I grew up here. I know everybody, but I was like, I gotta kind of get back out, And so I used to walk over to La Canard. And I met John Jock, I think, the second time I was there. And we became fast buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget, we're in there one night, and a girl I went to high school with, who didn't live in the area, comes. She was in town, and I think we were talking about our high school reunion or whatever. I was on the committee, and he thinks I'm on a date.
Oh.
So, as only John Jock can, he comes over and puts down a plate of oysters. And, you just kind of laugh, and a half hour goes by, her and I are chatting, and he comes over, he taps her, he says, "Come with me," and he takes her in the wine cellar.
Oh, no.
And she has no idea what's going on,
Right.
I don't
He's
think she
picking a
could
wine for
understand
him.
what he was
Yeah,
saying.
for her, yeah.
So she picks out a bottle of wine, and she comes back, and she's kind of got her hands in the air, like, what the heck is going on here? He goes, "Why don't you two go home and drink this together?" And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, Zach.
That's perfect vignette. Perfect story. I like it.
If that doesn't describe exactly
It
who he is.
encapsulates Jean Jacques.
Yeah.
Craziness and generosity all in one big
There you
package.
go.
Yeah.
You know what always impresses me about him when it gets real busy? He's out there bussing tables. And,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He'll clean the bathroom sooner than somebody else will.
Yeah.
And then some.
Yep.
Absolutely. And then he'll be jumping back into the kitchen and helping them too. Absolutely does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, to pump out that quality of food the way they do.
Consistent and
It's
delicious.
it 150%,
Glad that he's not closing.
No.
I'm sorry to see any of the restaurants close. It's really gotten to be so much.
We were talking about this last night, right? So the PPP money, when it finally got to restaurants, it took way too long. But when it did, that carried them for a while, right? But that's a one-time, subsidy. So now it's back to game on.
Yes,
and it's
yeah,
you gotta be making money now. And I think too. I mean, out of all the people that COVID affected, I think you own a restaurant, it had to be gut-wrenching.
No matter what kind of restaurant it is, the small scale, expensive, higher end,
and then now you couple the cost of food is through the roof.
Yeah, exactly.
Deliveries through the roof. And, I remember talking to one of the restaurant owners kind of in the beginning of COVID when they started doing those family meals. So every Sunday I would go to a different
one, yeah.
That I'm friends with. And, I said to the one, I said, "Damn, this is a lot of food. You making money?" He says, "I'm keeping my kitchen staff employed."
Oh, right.
He said, they own multiple restaurants. He said, "I lose my chef, I'm done." And,
True.
That stuck with me because I'm like, on top of having an empty restaurant, probably just breaking even or making a couple bucks on the food, you got all that stuff to deal with. And, people going out or not showing up or, anybody could call out. It just...
And there's still the issue today of the price of food.
Yep.
And people are having a hard time finding staff. They just did a hospitality job fair down at Hutton Brickyard the other night.
I saw that. I was curious. You didn't...
Went well.
It did, okay.
I was talking to Mike Beck from P&G's and Wiltwick, and I think it went well.
Good.
He was there for both P&G's and Wiltwick.
Yeah.
And, it was very well attended. I heard from a lot of folks. Jess Davis was there, and, it was very well attended. And so I hope it brought a lot of things to a lot of the restaurants. Again, seeing so many close is disheartening, but Palizada. I don't know if you were ever there on the corner of John
Yeah,
and
that
Wall.
actually was really good.
It was very good. So the same family had a restaurant in Ellenville for a number of years
Yeah, I
called
remember.
Tony and Nick's. And so now Palizada is Tony and Nick's. So instead of closing, they changed and like did a Tony and Nick's number 2 up here in Kingston because the menu is just a little more, I guess you'd say, affordable. They have wood-fired pizzas and salads and entrees, so it runs the whole gamut. A lot of appetizers. It's very good. I had lunch last week.
That's good. I had no idea. And I went there for dinner by happenstance. We were actually going to go to La Canard, and it was closed. I think during the winter, he had closed one day a week or something. And I had never been there, and it was delicious.
Oh, good.
So I might go there tonight, actually.
I hope people, go to Tony and Nick's. I think it still says Palizada, but it's Tony and Nick's. They've changed the menu,
So
it is delicious.
Wood-fired pizza. You know where else is, like, really, really good is that place, Lola's. I haven't been there in a while, but
yes, that's very good as well.
I remember the last time I was there, they were having staffing issues. And Sal Guido was here after you left 2 weeks ago, and I asked him point blank, and he said he was actually he had interviewed 3 people that week.
Yeah, because he's got to ramp up for the season.
Yeah, and he's got a 14-year-old that's going to be busting tables for him a couple days during the week.
Very good. Aiden got himself a job, huh?
Dad got Aiden a job. You know what's funny? You know what he says to me? Well, how much do I get paid? It depends how hard you work. I said, you get a portion of the tips. And so he was asking, and he was being serious. He's like, well, why do you want me to work in a restaurant? I said, because I grew up working in a restaurant. I said, it's going to teach you everything you need to know about business. You have to deal with people. You have to be positive. You have to communicate with people. And you have to hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I said, and you're going to work for a guy that does all that and then some.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, you're going to make more money doing, because he says, well, I want to play golf. I said, oh, yeah. Him and his buddies play golf at Wiltwick every day. I said, that's fine. That's right. You'll play 3 days a week, not 5. And you'll make more money than if I made you work 5 days a week. Right? And he says, oh, so I can still play 3 days a week. I said, yes, you can.
See the balance there.
But I remember, I think I told this story one other time when I was working for Merle at Armadillo, and I'm 18 years old, and I'm walking around with a mopey face, and she boom. Here I am 20 years later talking about it.
Yeah.
Right? That's not about working in a restaurant.
Those
That's
life
about
lessons,
how you carry yourself. So
Exactly. I hear Bernadette out there, so we're getting close to 7:30.
Yeah, we are getting
Bernadette
close. If she's out there right now, we can take an early break and then come back.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
331-9255. Bernadette Rexford from Benedictine Health Foundation's up next. 8 o'clock is Christine from Spa 21, and 8:30 will be Dr. Paul Padalino and Jim Shaughnessy from Kingston Schools. We'll be back in a minute.
Okay, and thank you, Fran and Dan, and thank you for listening to Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM. My name is Dan Gatus. It's March 25th and 39 degrees right now here in Uptown Kingston, and we'll be right back after these messages.
How would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose between getting medicine or groceries? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Cameron Rylance from Kingston, and I support Kingston Community Radio because it's informative.
You're with us here at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920, 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. 39 degrees on this March 25th, and partly to mostly cloudy today with a slight chance of a rain shower, a high around 60 degrees. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies early, then partly cloudy after midnight, a low of 37. And Saturday, partly cloudy skies during the morning hours, giving way to occasional showers in the afternoon with a high of 53. We've got a 60% chance of rain tomorrow and a 50% chance of rain tomorrow night with a low of 33 degrees. And Sunday, cloudy with a few flurries and snow showers possible, a high of 43 degrees. And Sunday night, mainly cloudy, a few flurries or snow showers possible. Hear that? A low near 20. And that's the weather. And Kingston Community Radio and Elks Lodge 550 team up for Breakfast Live Remote. A Breakfast Live Remote Tuesday, March 29th. That is this Tuesday. Coming up, Cameron Rylance and Nina Postapak will be airing from the Kingston Elks Lodge, 143 Hurley Avenue. Cost is $10. A spread of breakfast includes eggs and pancakes, bacon, sausage, coffee, and juice. Kingston Community Radio will be broadcasting live that morning right from the 143 Hurley Avenue at the Kingston Elks Lodge. Come. There's plenty of room for everyone, and enjoy breakfast with the radio show. This upcoming portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Many locations throughout the Mid-Hudson Valley, one near you. And so let's get back to the on-air studio with everybody, Fran and Dan, and our new guest.
Good morning. Welcome back, Dan Gruner.
Fran DiPetrillo-Savoca.
Bernadette Rexford.
Welcome, Bernadette.
Hi. Good morning.
Pretty fitting. You just had me sign a check for Platikill Mountain.
Yeah, talk about the ski event.
It was awesome. We had a great time. Of course, Dan was there, and he got to ski, too. So we've been so lucky with good weather. In our 4th year, we've had great weather, and we get to stay out on the deck and have lunch out on the deck because the weather's so nice, and morning skiing starts out good. As it gets warmer, it gets a little more like mashed potatoes, but everybody still has a really great time. Just really want to shout out to our sponsors because we really couldn't have done it without the sponsors. That would be SRH World, Highway Rehab Corp, M&T, Ryan & Ryan Insurance, New Vance Health, Bruderhoff, Kaiser & Kaiser, Meltzer & Hill, Marshall & Sterling, Joe Hill, Rondout Savings Bank, Timely Signs, Woodard Family, SVN, Deegan Collins Commercial Associates, Herzog's, Tobin Hill, Lau Plumbing, Trail Sweepers, Ulster Savings Bank, River Radiology, and Michael and Kristen Doyle. So thank you all to our great sponsors and all who came.
Very nice.
All the pictures are up on the website, and they'll be coming out in an e-news today, so everybody can see the pictures.
Good.
It's one of my favorite days of the year. And, I was laughing. I was saying to somebody at lunch, I remember when I saw at Platikill that you could rent the mountain. And I said, geez, here's another opportunity for a fundraiser. And at the time, people were like, no, I don't know. I said, no, I think it can work. And, it's not the same audience as the Bike for Cancer Care, but there's some overlap. But there's also, like I'm a skier, right? And a lot of people are golfers, and they're very passionate. They'll go anywhere to play in a golf tournament. Well, there's also a lot of people that have that philosophy with skiing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's great. Like Kenny Davenport brings his whole crew from Hunter Mountain, and Rick Oakley brought his crew from Hunter Mountain this year, and people are just as happy to take a day off to go skiing as they are to play golf.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. For a lot of the folks that love to be a part of like a fundraiser or community event like that, but don't golf, you know, there's a lot of pressure there.
Well, and it's, what I do for a living, you have to go to a lot of golf tournaments, and after a while, you get golf tournament fatigue because, right, it's a fundraiser, so they sell as many foursomes as they can,
Mm-hmm.
and if it takes you 5 or 6 hours to play golf, that's not always the most enjoyable experience, particularly when it's like 95 degrees out.
Exactly.
There's a lot more freedom in this day, but it really was, and I think we've got some really good momentum. And shout out to Mr. Ed Hill, raffle salesman extraordinaire.
Yes.
We did a lot of money in raffle tickets, like a lot of money. I don't want to.
We did. He's a good guy for that.
So what was it? It was $20 a raffle ticket, or 6 for $100.
Correct.
And Ed would just walk up to people and go,
Give me $100.
"Yeah, got $100 on you."
How did you know that, friend? It's fantastic.
And he's so a matter of fact about it. And I was sitting there eating lunch, and I watched him approach somebody that I said to myself, "This could be interesting." And the person said, "I don't have cash on me, but I will." And Ed says, "Well, wait." And the guy says, "Can I eat my lunch?" And so the standoff ended, but it was funny to watch.
And we do have a date for next year already set. We're going back to Thursday, March 9th, 2023.
Day after my birthday.
Yeah.
See, all your favorite events, Shamrock Run, the ski event, your birthday, they all happen at the same time.
March is a fun month.
Yeah, there you go. And, and it's not so fun for a lot of, March. You made it through the winter, but it's not quite nice yet. So it's great that there's so many wonderful things going on. And then I was just realizing how you were saying about it's not your golf event, your typical, and there's so many of those. Benedictine Health Foundation really does such a fantastic job, because I'm looking at the next event the next fundraiser that you're going to be talking about, and there's such unique opportunities, right? And that's why they're so successful. The Bike for Cancer, totally different. The ski benefit, and then coming up in April,
Sample, Sip, and Savor. It's Thursday, April 28th from 5:30 to 8 at the Fuller Building, hosted by Dutton Architecture, with Scott Dutton as our host.
And for folks that don't know where the Fuller Building is, it's 45 Pine Grove Avenue. It's newly renovated.
Beautiful.
And it is stunning. Do you want to say what restaurants and craft beverage, et cetera, will be there?
Sure. The restaurants that'll be there are Blackboard Bistro, Frank Guido's Little Italy, Home Plate Deli and Caterers, Savona's, the Bowery Dugout. Wine, beer, and spirits will be Great Life Brewing, Hudson Valley Distillers, Keegan Ales, Red Maple Vineyard. Desserts, we have Adirondack Creamery, Banana Moon Baking Company, and the Upstate Table. And for music, Michael Dell will be coming back.
Which is always a fun night.
Yeah.
And if anyone is not familiar, shame on you. No, I'm kidding. It's really just a fun night to network, to help showcase local restaurants, breweries, wineries. And Scott is just
a great host.
You can't even, unless you've been involved, you don't even know how much he gives to us in terms of not only opening his doors, but just making sure everything, he's an architect, so he's on it. But just so accommodating, and I'll be excited to go back, because I know the one part of the building the last time we were there wasn't done yet. And I always make sure to ask him, kind of give me a tour to show me the later, when we used to do it as other building.
Oh, yeah.
In that space, too. I mean, I remember he took me up where they lived in that loft upstairs, and it was like, you thought you were in Soho or something. It was just incredible. So he's a terrific host, but it's a really nice, fun night, relaxing. Doesn't take a heck of a lot of heavy lifting.
And it's a Thursday night, so you come after work and, you meet and mingle, taste and sample. And yes, Scott's really done a lot since 2 years ago when we did it. We haven't done it because of COVID, but it's phenomenal. There's spaces that are now built out, and we'll get to see Upstate Table, which is a new vendor in his spot, which is awesome.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them. Can you tell me a little bit bit about that?
Yeah, it started out as a cooking class where you could go with your friends, your families, and do cooking. But then COVID hit, so she transitioned quite well to wedding cakes and pastry items, and she's going to open up her space for us to walk through, and she's going to have some of her samples of delicious delicacies that she'll be making, and she's very excited about showcasing her place.
Great.
So
I wish I had known that a week ago. I just worked a small wedding expo at the Elm Rock Inn in Stone Ridge, and some of the couples that have booked there were asking, locally, because none of the couples were local, and they were asking options for wedding cakes, and I gave some, but I'm so glad to know now that I can refer the upstate table.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just joining us, we have Bernadette Rexford from the Benedictine Health Foundation here with us. If you want to give us a call, 331-9255. So Bernadette, if you could, if people are just joining us or are not familiar, just if you want to spend a couple minutes talking about the foundation and how we help people and kind of the who, what, where.
Sure. The Benedictine Health Foundation's pillar is cancer care. We raise money through our various events, mainly from our Bike for Cancer Care event that happens in September. This year it will be September 25th. It's always the fourth Sunday in September, and it goes out from Dietz Stadium. So we raise money for patients in the area that are diagnosed with cancer. So they may be living in the Hudson Valley area or receiving care outside of the area. Lots of our folks go down to Sloan Kettering, but they live in Kingston or the Hudson Valley area, so they would qualify to apply to what our fund is called Rosemary D. Gruner Memorial Cancer Fund, where folks can apply for assistance for purchasing gas and or food, gas from Stewart's and food from Hannaford supermarkets. It's an application process. It's very simple. It's very streamlined. There's 2 pages, one about the applicant, and the second one is from their oncologist. We turn the applications around quickly because this is a very difficult time for folks. They're deciding whether to eat healthy, spend their money on food, or take the trip for treatment. And if they don't have gas, it's a hard decision for them to make. So we offer them the food and gas or gas cards to get to and from treatment.
And such a shame that gas and food both are so costly currently.
Yes.
And it's you make a good point. I remember whenever the last time gas prices went through the roof, it was our kind of first economic downturn. So that would have been 2009, 8 or 9. And I remember at the time, we were kind of, at that point we had a pretty good handle on distribution and the amount we would distribute. And it was November, and the request went through the right. We've always, part of the mission of the Gruner Fund is to help every family that comes to us. Mm-hmm. And on average, we give out about roughly $5,000 a month, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, there's $15,000 in requests. And I'm like, it didn't connect with me yet. And I said, well, so we were talking about it, and it was all, usually the distribution is pretty even between mm-hmm. gas and food, and mm-hmm. and we give people the choice to, mm-hmm. Because then what you need, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, the gas requests were going through the roof, and so we're like, what are we going to do? And fortunately, we had enough money aside, but, it can happen very quickly, that impact, that a change in cost can, as you just mentioned, people that are having a hard time to begin with. I mentioned this before you came on. I should have waited until you came on, but mm-hmm. I was on the phone yesterday with somebody about the changes at the schools, which we're going to talk about at 8:30, and the woman called me and asked, are you Dan Gruner? And I, yes, and sometimes that can be a loaded question, and so we kind of did the fact finding, and I thought she was a reporter, the way she was asking me. And I said, can I ask you who you are? And so she told me, and we chatted, and she said, I just don't even know how to thank your family. And we helped her 10 years ago. And I was telling my dad that story last night, and he said, you never know who you've helped. And, I say that we are lucky because it takes a unique person to interact with people in a very challenging time, and Bernadette has that natural. It's hard not to get emotional. It's hard, it's almost 18 years later, it's still very personal to me and my family, and to know that people are not only being taken care of, but in a manner that is sensitive to the whole situation.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I would like to tell you that my family also was advantaged by the Gruner Foundation for my late wife.
Oh, I never knew
about,
that.
6 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And we thank you very, very much. I think we found it out through the Oncology Support Center.
Yes.
And because we were very active there.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss, and
absolutely, but I just wanted to
no,
let you know
I never knew that.
How many people you've touched
Just
with
like
that
your
one.
father said, you never know.
Yeah,
you
it's
never
true.
know, and
Twice in 24
that's what
hours.
inspired me to tell you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's a good segue to, maybe talk about. I don't think people fully understand how wide the reach is, and how many people we've helped in the emergency program that was started how many years ago now?
I would say that was probably 6 or 7 years ago. We started the emergency assistance program, which is it's in conjunction with the Rosemary Gruner Fund. If anyone qualifies for the Rosemary Gruner Fund, they automatically qualify for our emergency assistance fund, which is an additional $250 to help the applicant with any kind of outstanding bills that they have, or assistance with, as we all know now, going through the time of your electric and gas bills. That's the number one request that's coming in. But for cell phone, copay, car insurance, credit card bill, anything to help them give a little bit of a bump in reprieve in their bills, because most of our folks we're gainfully employed, but we're going through the arduous treatment of a cancer diagnosis, and their worlds have fallen apart. So the most that we can help them with at this time is $250 towards any bills that they have. But that's life-changing for some folks, because they're teetering on whether their electric is going to be turned on or off, or their television, or so it's very difficult for them. So we do have that fund as well. And these events that we hold, the Sample Sip and Savor, the Ski Benefit, the Rosemary Gruner Fund, it's all goes towards these funds to help folks that are going through this treatment of cancer. And it is through the Hudson Valley, because we have lots of folks that are referred to us from different oncology offices, the Oncology Support House, the infusion centers, breast centers. We have folks from across the river that refer patients to us because they live here, but they go across the river for treatment. So depending upon where you live and or where you receive your treatment are qualifiers for the Rosemary Gruner Fund and the emergency assistance. So it's far-reaching. And we couldn't do it without the referrals from the Oncology Support House and the cancer centers and the oncologists themselves. So we have a really good working network with all of those folks to get us the patients that need help. Because when you're going through treatment for this, you're just lost. You can't think about other things or where to go or who to turn to or who does what. So they're very great about transferring and referring folks to us, because they know who we are. So, but if you know anyone out there who's listening that needs help, please feel free to give us a call or, go on our website, bhfoundation.org, and you can learn all about the Rosemary Gruner Fund on our website.
This is unique. I'm just wondering how well placed something like that would be in Montana or in Ohio or in Pennsylvania. Has it been duplicated, or did you get an inspiration from another organization that does the same thing? Because it is key.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And, when we lost our mom in 2003, my 3 siblings and I and my oldest sister Ellen's husband, Brian, just started talking, and we wanted to give back. That was it. That was the conversation. We want to give back because countless people helped us during our mom's illness, and that's really where it started. We wanted to give back, and we sat around our family's kitchen table one Saturday morning and just throwing out different ideas and blah, blah, blah. And the bike ride came up. I used to ride in an event outside of Boston called the Ride for Research in memory of a friend I lost to brain cancer. And we zeroed in on that because it was a wide audience and, raised a ton of money, and it was fun. And so we zeroed in on the bike ride, and my brother-in-law, Brian, called the Brain Tumor Society outside of Boston, which was the organization that ran the Ride for Research. So he kind of got that going and then looped me in. And then the first 2 years, the first year of the bike ride, we had no idea. I was in charge of it at the time. I was probably not a very pleasant person to be around leading up to it. But we raised $44,000. And I was like, okay. So the first 2 years, we kind of just helped people that needed help. And I'll get back to that in a minute. We have a caller.
Hi. What I'm interested in finding out is, has Medicare cut local people from going down to Sloan Kettering? I know somebody that always went down there, and now they're maybe limiting some of the coverage. So I was wondering about it.
That's a conversation to have with Sloan Kettering. That's what's called a network challenge. I would be surprised to hear if any Center of Excellence is not participating in Medicare, but you need to have that conversation directly with the provider's office at Sloan Kettering.
Oh, it always did coverage. This seems to be something maybe changed in Medicare. So I don't know where you would go. Like you said, it's new to me, and I'm hearing things about it and wondering if it's true.
We don't have any way of knowing that, but the best way to find out is go directly to Sloan, and ask to speak with someone in the billing office, and they'll be able to help you with that.
Or if it's just in general for Medicare, you could always call the local office for the aging. They have counselors and social workers that can help you with any Medicaid or Medicare questions that you might have.
Oh, I was thinking of doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably an easier place to start.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much. You're a big help.
All right. Have a good day.
You too, dear. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Dan, back to your question. So the first 2 years, we were just kind of helping people. And, I remember got a call from whoever, and a lung cancer patient needed an air conditioner. And it was August, and it was hot. And so I called Brad Jordan at Herzog's, and he said, yeah, we have some, blah, blah, blah. So he said, all right, great, I'll get back to you. Less than 5 minutes later, he calls me back. He says, why don't you just get us the address, and we'll go deliver it and install it. And, for the people that fought Brad Jordan on the Kingstonian, that's who Brad Jordan is. I could go on for a couple hours with him. So we realized, all right, we raised $44,000 the first year, but we're like giving out as much as coming in, and we needed to come up with a system. And so we came up with the gift cards to Stewart's and Hannaford, really out of the kind of the, when we talk about our mom and when we launched the cookbook in the beginning, her cousin wrote the foreword, and it said faith, family, and food were the guiding principles of Rosie's life. And so in that spirit, that's where the gift cards for the food, right? Our mom, she used to put like 50,000 miles on her car a year and barely left the city of Kingston. Well, we lived in Hurley, so that was 2 miles. But it was just like, kid in the neighborhood needed a ride. Whoop! I needed a ride. It just all day, every day. And so in that spirit, but to answer your question, has it been replicated? Not to our knowledge. I worked with an organization down south of here a number of years ago. It never went anywhere. I think they realized this wasn't just something you flip the switch and.
I've had a couple of conversations, and one most recently in the late fall from an organization in Manhattan that runs a running/biking event. And they wanted to know how we coordinated it and how we did it. And I said, well, the city is, there's a lot of permits and a lot of information that you have to get. And when I got down to telling him that our event, we use about 150 volunteers. And as soon as I said you need at least 150 volunteers, he's like, oh, because, we have a unique community where everyone gives back. And when you say, hey, I need you to do this, this, or this, people step up. So, and they're there year after year after year.
At 6 in the morning.
At 6 in the morning, we've got the car lights on, and people are setting up and they're there. So it's got to be your community. Your community has to be, in it.
And I just got to chill when you said permits, because I'll never forget. I was, trying to fumble through, and I learned that you got to get this county permit and blah, blah, blah. And the guy at the county, Kim DeFries, was wonderful. And he said, listen, you need to get the state police on board. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, you can't just go through all these towns. And he's describing it to me, and I'm like, all right, this might be like this could be the reason this doesn't happen, right? So I don't say anything to anybody. And I just drive out to Troop F one day, and I walk in there. This guy's like, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, I need to talk to who's in charge. He's like, for what? I'm like, well, I want to do this bike ride. And he's like, looking at me. Captain Regan came out, who happened to be a serious cyclist. Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't have time to talk to you right now, but, be back here Thursday at 9 o'clock or whatever. So I go back. And he just starts rattling off, right? Everything I got to do. And I'm like, oh, my God. And he said, listen, you're going to get a permit from the county. You need to map out each of the routes. You need to label, blah, blah, blah. He says, you get the county permit. You come back to talk to me, and we'll be on board. And I think it was part of him was like, let's see if this guy follows through. Mm. I called the county back. I said, I need to come see you, blah, blah, blah. Back then, we didn't have the digital map, so I'm like literally photocopying maps and drawing it. And this guy, Kim DeFries, he's like this. Where does this go? And I'm like, well, it goes here, here. He says, you know the whole route in your head. I said, yeah. He says, type it out. I said, okay. We got the permit. I showed back up to state police, and he's like, all right, we're in business. And that allowed everything else to happen, but geez, we're almost at 8 o'clock already.
There's a lot of pieces. For the caller, we said, call Office for the Aging. I just wanted to give the phone number for the Ulster County Office for the Aging. It's 845-340-3456. So that's the Ulster County Office for the Aging. We hope that they can assist you with your Medicare question. 340-3456. Thanks.
And coming up on the top of the hour, Bernadette Rexford from the Benedictine Health Foundation. Thank you as always. Sample Sip and Savor is
Thursday, April 28th from 5:30 to 8 at the Fuller Building.
And if you want to become a sponsor, the information is on the website. Or Bernadette, why don't you give your phone number quick for anyone that wants to call and become a sponsor?
431-1371. Give me a call. I'd be happy to help you out. And if anyone has any questions or need for the Rosemary Gruner Fund, please give me a call for that too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you as always.
Thank you for all you do.
We'll be back with Christine from Spot 21 in a few minutes.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Fran. And a very, very special thanks to Bernadette Rexford from Benedictine Health Foundation. Thank you so much. Thank you. And you are with us here at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM. This last portion of Kingston Community Radio was brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Many locations throughout the Mid-Hudson Valley, one right near you. It's March 25th, and it's 40 degrees right now here in Uptown Kingston. And we'll be right back after these messages.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Welcome back to The Dog Show. Up next, we have Satchmo. Satchmo is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right, a group known especially for their couch-snuggling, ball-chasing, face-licking, and, of course, companionship. Now, let's see him in action.
Look how he makes eye contact with his person.
That's actually known as the treat stare.
How intuitive, and now he appears to be excitedly turning in circles.
Ah, the happy dance so common with this group.
But really, the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Satchmo is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name's Maggie. I'm from Copeg, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
Thank you for listening to KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. Kingston Community Radio and Elks Lodge 550 team up for a Breakfast Live Remote. Tuesday, March 29th from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., Kingston Elks Lodge, 143 Hurley Avenue. Come drive over to 143 Hurley Avenue and have a wonderful breakfast spread of eggs, pancakes, bacon, sausage, coffee, and juice. Cost is $10, and Kingston Community Radio will be broadcasting live that morning right with you, and you'll be with Cameron Rylance and Nina Poshchapak doing their normal show from that location, so come on down and join us. I know, 7 a.m., come pull down and chill out with us and enjoy the breakfast with Kingston Elks Lodge and with Kingston Community Radio. We are broadcasting live that day. And again, the date is March 29th, this upcoming Tuesday. And again, you're with us here at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM. This morning's this segment of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Robert Baum Commercial Realty, located at 79 St. James Street, Kingston, New York. Visit rgbaum.com for more information. And let's get back to the on-air studio with Fran DePetrillo-Savoca and Dan Gruner. Welcome back.
Thank you. And we have some birthdays to do.
We do, and last time we didn't do it chronologically.
Right, so you go first.
You have the 27th. I have the 26th, and that is tomorrow. And
Do we not have any today?
No. A happy birthday to Elaney from the Deet Stadium Diner. And, it's kind of interesting. I just said to Bernadette, I've encountered two people in the last 24 hours that our family has helped. And now I'm reading Elaney's birthday. And a little fun fact of Bike for Cancer Care. Eleni makes breakfast for all the volunteers every year and delivers it at like 6:30 in the morning.
Yep,
and
she's one of those people.
And I'm the type of person that I need to eat in the morning, and I can maybe get hangry from time to time. And every year I see her come walking across with that big box of egg sandwiches, and I just go over and grab one before they even hit the table and take 2 seconds to eat it and get on. So happy birthday, Elaney. Thanks for everything you do for us, and everything in Uptown Kingston.
Okay. So I have birthdays for Sunday, March 27th. Please wish Judy Cross a very happy milestone birthday. Doesn't say what milestone it is, but it says a very happy milestone birthday. Love, Steve. Also, March 27th, happy birthday to former Judge Donald Williams, family and friends, and Chadwick. So that's
Yay.
exciting.
Okay.
One of my favorites.
Happy birthday, Dawn.
Happy birthday, Don.
He's one of our hosts.
Yes. I filled in with Don a few times, actually. Always a good show. We also have Sunday, happy birthday to Jean Nettle from your friends at the Town of Ulster Senior Club. Jean, I'm surprised that you're old enough to be part of a senior club. So happy birthday to you. And then we have a happy birthday to Rich, and I'm so sorry if I get this wrong. No, I think I've got it. Lo Salento. Rich Lo Salento, happy birthday. From We Love You, Mom, Kristen, John, Jim, and Tony. And let's see, our birthday winner, who is your birthday winner?
Well, I'm not very good at this birthday thing. Elaney, stop by Boyce's Dairy and pick up your cow pie because you won for the 26th. Yeah, I'll leave the sound effects to the other Dan.
For Sunday, March 27th, our winner for the Boyce Dairy Milk House famous cow pie is Rich Lo Salento. So head on down to 62 O'Neill Street and collect your famous cow pie for your birthday. Congratulations and happy birthday to all.
Happy
Thanks,
birthday
Dan.
to fellow March birthdays. And as
Yes.
we determined earlier, March is the funnest month of the year. So
And
onward and upward. And
our lovely guest this morning from currently Spa 21, and we'll get more of that, is Christina. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me back.
yeah, good to see you.
Christina has an announcement that I'm very excited about.
I do, yes. So this timing worked out really, really well. Spa 21, we've been here for a couple of years now. We opened about 6 months before COVID.
Okay, I was trying to remember how long
BC.
before. Yeah.
And so we've been open for a little over 2 years now. And it's been wonderful to serve the community and be here. We are reopening. We're doing a rebranding. We are reopening with the name Origin Wellness. Mm-hmm. So we're very excited about this for several reasons. One is that the word spa has been difficult for us from the beginning. Mm-hmm. It's something that, we're based on a European model. Our owner is French. The first one of these centers was opened in the south of France, and the second one was opened in Sweden. And so we in Europe, spa is a little bit more, as I understand it, a broader term than it is in the United States, where it's very specific, where you do
Spa in the United States, everybody pictures a bathrobe and hands-on treatment.
That's right.
That's what you got.
Yes. And we do something a little different. And we've known from the beginning that that's the case. We are really more of a wellness center. We have over 20 different services that support the body's health and wellness, including far infrared, the cryosauna. We have electromyostimulation. So we have a lot of different things that are great for the body, but it's just not really in the spa space. So we're reopening under this name Origin. And part of the idea behind that, in addition to just foregrounding that this really is a wellness center, is that part of the philosophy behind what we do is that we believe that the natural state of human beings is a state of well-being. That it is, in fact, the tension, the physical tension, the states of ill-being that we feel are a result of stress and disequilibrium in our environments, right? And so what we're interested in is helping people get back to a more natural state of being in their body and in their thoughts. And so that's where the word origin comes from, that our origin as human beings was a state of well-being, and that is very much what we need to find again. Mm-hmm. And so we're here to hopefully help people take steps back in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Because every day we're fighting the elements of the universe pushing us out of that original origin, right?
It's so true. It's so true. And until you remember what that is, we get so far from it that we can't even imagine what it actually is to feel calm and to feel really, to have that feeling of vitality and centeredness in ourselves and clarity of thought and all of those things, that it just becomes like an idea,
Right.
instead of a lived reality.
Right. I think what we go through daily, we think that's just normal, and it's really not.
Yeah, we
Some
take
of
it for
your-
granted.
Stress affects me greatly physically, and I don't think we realize, even when it's happening, that's what's happening to you. You know,
it's like the frog in water.
Dan, does stress affect you?
No.
Some of your therapies seem a little foreign to me, and I would be very, very interested in hearing because they're very advanced.
Yes.
They're very advanced, and I do believe in that. So some of the therapies people, listeners might not know about.
Yes.
What you can offer
So
there.
I'll just add before you get into the whole gamut of services.
You went thinking it was a spa?
No, I went because I had back surgery, will be 4 years in May. And from time to time, I have issues, stress related. And before my back surgery, I was just a very tight physically person to begin with. And I was having an issue, and it was actually during COVID. And I kind of know when, I can't get it to settle myself. And the person who I go to for a traditional massage, was not seeing people at that point. And so it was either my brother, I think it was my brother, had
Also has back issues.
Yeah, he's had much worse than me, but he had been and he recommended and blah, blah, blah. So I said, I'm looking on your website. And I'm like, I don't even know what any of this stuff is. So I called and I spoke to you and I did the starter package or whatever. And I'm like, wait a minute, that freezing.
Oh, the
cryo
cryo.
sun.
Cryo, I can never remember.
The cryo.
Christina won't admit it. I'm not really a person that gets scared of things. I was terrified, Dan. And she calmed me down. I'm a guy. I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, no way. This is the guy that used to go jump in Williams Lake on New Year's Day. Well, this is 25 times colder than that. So anyway, I did it. And then I did that inversion table type thing. I'm doing a terrible job explaining it, but I felt so much. Not only did I feel better, I was so alert. Just clarity, right? You hear about clarity, and I had podcasts I listen to, guys talking about how he takes a cold shower every morning. I don't take a cold shower, but I started the last 30 seconds, and now I'm counting in my head how long I can stay under the cold water, and it makes you alert. It's not fun, but today I was up at 5 a.m. and I'm like, I gotta wake up and get engaged here. So, but to your point, the services might not sound familiar, but I can tell you as somebody that's been there, is phenomenal.
I love to hear that. And I
Do
really...
you remember me being
I
there?
do.
Yeah. It's just look at this wimp.
But honestly, 90% of people are nervous before they get in the cryo.
And that table, I remember you turned it on, and I'm like,
what is
Is that the table that levels out
Yes.
the fluids,
So-
even in your eyes?
Right.
I kept thinking because I wouldn't relax, that it was going to fall off it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not going to fall off. Hey, this actually feels really good. Then I go
feels
from
amazing.
there, I fell asleep. And I woke up and I'm like, I don't nap. I don't ever.
See what it did to you?
I
See
kn-
the state it
and
put
it
you
was a
in?
proving point that I needed to just. So.
Yeah. Well, and I love what you say about feeling alert after, but also that you were relaxed enough to fall asleep after having just been in negative 200 degrees. And we can talk about the cryo a little bit just to contextualize that. It's a chamber that you stand in that is cooled to negative 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and it reduces inflammation in the body, which is why it's so good for the back. And it also helps, it increases endorphins. It's good for metabolism. It's a metabolic boost. We've talked about this. You can burn up to 500 calories from 1 3-minute session. So it's really a remarkable machine, but that even after you were just standing in negative 200 degrees, you were still so relaxed that you could fall asleep.
I didn't even know what was going on when I woke up. Like, it was like,
It
was phenomenal.
Yeah, it transported you.
Well, but that state, I think what you're describing is a state of calm attention. And a lot of times when we think about being alert and attentive enough in our daily lives, we actually think about being in a stress state, right? We have to kind of galvanize ourselves to deal with whatever it is that's coming at us. But actually, it's that state, exactly what you're talking about, of feeling both calm and alert at the same time, that is the state that is most conducive to creative action in the world. And we know that, like, that's when the prefrontal cortex activates in the brain. It's a good problem-solving state. And so it's not just great for the body as you experience, it's also really, really good for the mind. So that's something that actually, as Origin Wellness, one thing that we're doing is we're putting together programs. So we have, as I said, over 20 different services, and we've been looking at combinations of services and the effects of those combinations. So as I said, our second center was in Sweden. We have sister centers in St. Louis, and they've been doing research to really understand what the kind of synergistic effects of these programs are. So one of the programs is clarity. So that clarity of mind that also comes from this state of calm attention in the body. So that's one of the programs we're offering. We have a mood program. We have a relaxation program for people who just really need to de-stress. We have a detox program. So we'll have, I think, 12 different programs that we can offer people, and they can just buy as a package, kind of based on the effects that they want.
How was Kingston chosen?
That's a great question. So our owner, who is French, actually lives in Kerhonkson.
Oh.
He is a biochemist by training. He was actually working in New Jersey and commuting there. But he fell in love with the Hudson Valley when he moved to the United States.
Aren't we lucky?
Yeah.
We're very lucky. He has lived here, I want to say, for 16 years. And when his family started this center in France, and when the Sweden center opened, and the Swedish government actually funded research so that they could see the effect of these services, the efficacy of these services, especially in conjunction with well-being coaching, which we also offer at the spa. And what we saw, the data was so overwhelming that in terms of decreased rates of depression, decreased rates of anxiety, better cardiovascular health, that when our owner, Claude, who is, again, a biochemist by training, went looking at that data, it was like, well, we have to bring this to the United States. We have to bring this everywhere we can think to bring this. And because he lives here, he has this deep connection to the Hudson Valley, he very much wanted to bring it to Kingston, which makes sense because Kingston is one of those very special cities in the Hudson Valley. It's a place where, a lot of people migrate. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was it.
That's exciting.
We got lucky.
The other Dan, have you been to the spa?
I have no. I am. Maggie and I are both planning on coming down to do the intro program.
Intro sessions.
We
would love
I'm
to
going
have
to throw a can of worms in here, and I'm just going to ask, what, if at all, types of insurances are covering any of the therapies that you're doing?
We do have, we have insurance. We wouldn't be able to open without it.
No. I mean,
like
for
health insurance.
Health
insurance.
Yes, health insurance for the clients.
Oh, that insurance.
Yes, the health insurance for clients.
No, it's not a medical center. I do know that clients have submitted some of the things that we do for insurance coverage, but it's not done through us. And also, like tax, like this is a health expense for taxes. So some people I know will claim this as a health expense, which I totally understand, especially if they're dealing with chronic back pain or these kinds of issues, or even blood pressure, because there are a lot of studies that show that far infrared helps with blood pressure. Or Lyme disease. Far infrared is, and PEMF, which we also have, and I can talk a little bit more about these specific services, have been clinically shown to help with symptoms of chronic Lyme, which I know we have epidemically in the Hudson Valley. So I know you were saying, Dan, that a lot of our services aren't well known to people, and that's true. So the table that you were talking about, this, it's not quite an inversion table, but it does rock you back and forth, and you often feel like you're upside down. It's one of two that exist in the United States. So there's a reason that no one's heard of it. It's much better
I feel
known.
special.
And it's so much
are special.
It's so much better than an inversion table. You've done an inversion table, like
No, this is way more relaxing.
way better. Yeah, the first
Inversion
time
table
I did
is
the
kinda
inversion
like
table, and I
A
didn't
test
do it.
of your mettle.
Yeah, and I came out of that like feeling like worse. Like it was the most car sick feeling I've ever had. I was like, okay, I'm done. That's good. Yeah, no more.
No, this is
this table that you're talking about is great.
It very gently rocks you back and forth. It helps move fluid through the body. It's great for the lymphatic system, which of course is tied to immune function. It can be helpful with lymphedema, where lymph is kind of collecting and trapped in the body. And it actually was invented to help treat eye injury and eye trauma, which is amazing. So it was invented in France by an ophthalmologist, a very brilliant woman who wanted to facilitate healing in the eye by increasing fluid movement in the eye. And in order to increase fluid movement, she was like, well, we kind of have to move the whole body. We can't just move the eyes. And so she did this, and it turns out to have benefits for the entire body. It is so relaxing. It has a pretty immediate appeasement on the nervous system, which is amazing, especially these days. So that's one thing that we have that, again, it exists in two places in the United States, and we're one of them. We have several different far infrared treatments. Far infrared is really an extraordinary technology. I highly encourage people to look it up if they don't know about it. So it's a deep heat. It conducts heat directly into the body. Far infrared is on the light spectrum. It's an invisible wavelength. So you don't see it, but you do feel it. So it's a deep heat. I think of it as different from a conventional sauna, where you're heated from the outside in. So you like walk into a warm room and your body gets heated from the outside in. This is heating you from the inside out, essentially.
Is this where you lay in the cocoon type thing?
Yes.
I've
So
done
we
that
have
a couple of times. It's fabulous.
I
just never know what the treatment's called that I've done.
I love it because everyone has their own language for every single service that we have. And so we just get to learn each person's unique language for the services, which actually I find very fun. So yes, the heat cocoon is we call infrared sculpt, and
Fran, that's infrared sculpt, okay?
But it's essentially like a very small infrared sauna, like a personal sized infrared sauna that you lay on a bed and you're encased in it. And one thing that's really great about the far infrared, in addition to it being very relaxing, is that it is a fantastic detox for the body. Mm-hmm. And so we know, Dave and I were reading a study. Dave is my colleague who I help run the spa with. And we were looking at a study about far infrared saunas. And it was a small study. It was like maybe 30 people. But they did 50 infrared sauna sessions. And after 50 infrared sauna sessions, the toxic load of the body had decreased by 50%.
Really?
So that is for people who are very serious about doing detoxing. That is one of the best things that you can do. And one of the things that's particularly interesting about the sculpt is that, so we know that our fat tissue actually stores synthetic toxins very efficiently. So it's one of the things that actually protects our organs. And so we can all thank our fat for protecting our organs from too much toxicity. But as we lose weight, for example, those toxins need somewhere to go. So they're going to find another place in our body. And so by detoxifying our fat tissue through infrared saunas, far infrared saunas, then it helps our bodies metabolize that tissue, and it just generally helps detoxify so that we can avoid, say, chronic illness. Because that's one of the consequences of our body's toxicities is that we often will develop chronic autoimmune conditions. So this is a very simple thing that feels amazing that we can do just to kind of get our bodies again back to a more natural state of functioning before this inundation of toxins that we have with our contemporary lives.
How long do you do the infrared for?
It's a 30-minute session each time you do it. Yeah.
You're bound to fall asleep in it.
Yes, it is a good nap. It's a great nap. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that really the space is it's like, you know how you have like a flight of wine or a flight of beer, or a flight of cheese. We have a flight of naps.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, right. It's true.
And so you just go from room to room and take different kinds of naps.
Well, maybe spend a minute talking about that starter packet, because it's really a great way to get to know the spa
and where you're located
and learn about all these different things.
Sure. Yes. So we are actually located on Lucas Avenue. We're located right here, directly underneath the radio station. And so we're at the end of Lucas Avenue, where Lucas dead ends into Green Street. So right in Uptown. And the intro session is a deal that we have that I believe we will be keeping when we reopen as Origin. And it is an hour of services for $50. And what it does is that it allows you to try a few different things, especially since people are less familiar with a lot of our services. So they can come in and say, I really want to try the infrared, or I really want to try the cryo, or I have chronic pain or chronic back issues. What can I do? And so we can put them through a few different services and see what helps them. Mm-hmm. And I love that. And one of the things I really love about the space is that with over 20 services, we can really tailor things to a person's need. Not everyone is going to respond to every service, and some will be fantastic for one person, and for another person, it's other services that really help them. So we have a lot of flexibility in terms of what we can put together for people, and so that's part of the benefit of the intro session package, and also it's just a very affordable way to come in and take care of yourself for an hour, which a lot of people need. Mm-hmm. So
an hour. I'd like to move in. Dan, it's so close to your house. I'm surprised you're not.
We do have people that are
living there,
close to moving in. I feel like I live there, of course.
Yes.
But I had a client in yesterday, and she's there almost every day. And she was like, she's a frequent flyer. You know,
Yeah.
she's like, I really should move in.
Probably a lot more relaxed than I am.
Yeah, right?
She is excellent.
I'm a little envious of her.
Yes. But, not every time. Sometimes it's just half an hour. I'm going to take half an hour out of my day, and I'm going to go there and do something good for myself.
What are your hours?
We are open 9:30 to 6:30, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we're closed Tuesday. We're open Sunday from 10 to 4.
And when is the rebranding or the name change taking place?
Yes, thank you. So that should be happening end of April, beginning of May. That's the expectation. We're waiting on signage and to finish the website, the new website. So those are the big key things.
And important things. So.
Very important things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think we've had to learn to be patient the last couple of years because businesses went from being closed to so busy that, it's a challenge to, I feel like we're constantly playing catch up. So, but I would say as probably not your, typical customer, it's definitely worth go do the intro package.
Yeah.
I'd really encourage it. It totally opened me up to, I was like, is anyone who's ever had chronic pain, you get desperate. And it's debilitating. And how I felt when I walked in that door and how I felt when I walked out was 150% different. So really give it a shot. We're coming up on on 8:30 here. So
That was so fast. Christina from Spa 21, soon to be Origin Wellness.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
time flies when we're having fun.
Yeah.
Coming up at 8:30, Dan and Fran will be back with Dr. Paul Padalino and Jim Shaughnessy from Kingston City School District.
Thank you, Dan. Dan Gruner and Fran DiPetrillo Savoca. I trip over that every now and then. This last portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Many locations throughout the Mid-Hudson Valley, one near you. March 25th today, and it's 40 degrees here in uptown Kingston. And again, you are listening to KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920, 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dina Roy from Hurley, and I support the Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
And we're back, and you're here with us at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, AM 920 and 92.5 FM, and streaming online at mykcr.org. This last portion of Kingston Community Radio was brought to you by by Ulster Savings Bank, serving Mid-Hudson Valley. Ulster Savings, one location definitely near you. This upcoming programming is brought to you by Friends of Kevin Cahill. As a strong advocate of local broadcasting, Assemblymember Cahill urges you to support Kingston Community Radio with your time and donations. Your contributions keep KCR vital and on the air at FM 92.5, AM 920, and on the web at mykcr.org. Join Assemblymember Cahill and send your gifts of $10, $25 or more to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. Together, let's keep KCR alive. And again, definitely keep KCR alive on next Tuesday, the 29th. Tuesday, March 29th, we are going to be broadcasting live at the Elks Lodge 550. We're going to team up with them and do a live remote, and that is at the Elks Lodge at 143 Hurley Avenue at 7 a.m. Come and have some breakfast with us. We have a nice spread of eggs and pancakes, bacon, sausage, coffee, and juice, and we'll be broadcasting live that morning with Cameron Rylance and Nina Postjapak doing their normal show from that location. So come and do the radio show with us, and join us on March 29th from 7 to 9 a.m. I know it's a little early, but you got to have some breakfast, so come on down and have some breakfast with us at 143 Hurley Avenue. We're going to have a good time. Now let's get to the on-air studio as soon as we can right now, here with Dan Gruner and Fran DiPetrillo Savoca.
Thank you, Dan. Fran had to head out for work, so I'm flying solo this half hour. In studio, we have Jim Shaughnessy.
And our guest is on the line.
Yep. Jim Shaughnessy is the president of Kingston City School District Board of Education. And on the line, we have Dr. Padalino, superintendent of schools. Dr. Padalino, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you good, Dan.
Okay, great. Well,
good morning, Dr. Padalino.
Good morning.
Well, I want to begin by thanking you both. I took a chance, and I reached out to Jim, and he responded. So I wanted to thank you both. I know Dr. Padalino, you're out of town. I appreciate you taking the time as well. What my goal this morning is to bring clarity to changes that have been presented for the fall of 2022 for incoming freshmen at Kingston High School. I'll mention again, I chose not to open the phone lines for this half hour. I thought it would be important for both of you to have as much time to talk, and sometimes call-ins can send things sideways. So just a reminder to anyone listening, we're not going to take call-ins. But Dr. Padalino and Jim, what I wanted to just preface by saying is what I would like to do is for the both of you to describe the change, what it means, so people have a unified message as to what it is, because I can share with you both that there's a tremendous amount of confusion. And what I did, this kind of took a life of its own. I started receiving phone calls and text messages from people over the last 48 hours that many I spoke to a woman for a half hour before I'd never talked to before in my life, which was a good thing. So I asked people to send me questions so we could kind of formulate it, and I worked on it last night, and I whittled 62 questions down because we won't get to those. But so a lot of the questions I'm going to ask are coming from parents in the community. So just to give you a background, so I'll turn it over to the both of you if you want to kind of give the background on where we are.
Could I go first, Dr. Padalino?
Sure, Mr. Strauss, go ahead.
So let me start out by saying, Dr. Padalino pointed this out to me yesterday. I have our board goals here going back to 2017-18 school year. And in each year, one of the board goals has been to promote equity in academic opportunity, educational opportunity for all students. The 2021-2022 goal has expanded that a little bit. And let me read goal number 2, equity. Promote equity in academic opportunity, extracurricular participation, social-emotional learning, and discipline practices in KCSD, Kingston City School District, by monitoring and supporting the implementation of equity objectives through the superintendent's regular reports to the BOE as per the annotated calendar. Continue to identify and support ways to overcome structural barriers to equity that exist in our district, and develop policies that advance equity by diversifying the hiring community, standardizing the hiring process, and making the hiring process transparent. This goal was the result of, as I say, it goes back many years. It's been an ongoing goal of the Board of Education, and this year we expanded it a little bit, and I'm sure that it will continue into the future years because it's a foundational goal for our school district.
Could you define equity as it pertains to this?
Well, equity is that every student has the opportunity to achieve their potential, and it's hard to gauge that what that potential is, and children mature at different ages, at different rates, and to categorize a student in 8th grade or even 3rd grade, I mean, it goes real far deep into the elementary education when students are identified as what their potential is. That potential changes over time, and every student should have the opportunity to expand as they mature and have expanded opportunities for success.
But they do now.
Well, if you look at the profile of our participation in honors programs, in in extracurricular activities, there's a disparity.
In what regard?
Well, in terms of racial identity, in terms of economic identity, there are students who should be having opportunities that they're not participating in for whatever reason.
Dr. Padalino, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, sure, Dan. Thanks. I think the whole idea around this was giving every student the opportunity to be challenged to their best potential, making sure that we provide those opportunities. That's our job. So I think that looking at our honors programs, looking at our extracurriculars, looking at our music programs, looking at everything we do, and making sure that we are including everyone in those opportunities. And again, the idea is to create access, provide access to all students, regardless of their, whether they're a special education student, an English language learner, any of our subgroups. So, I mean, our goal is really to make sure that we maximize the potential of every student and give them the opportunities that we can provide at the Kingston City School District.
Thank you. I'm going to move forward, if it's okay, with some questions, because I think I'm just looking here, and you kind of addressed the first portion there. One of the common themes of questions I received from parents was existing honor students. What does that mean to them? What happens when a student currently is in advanced classes? And again, hopefully you both can provide some clarity on this, but at least the theme of the parents is that right now there's a student in an honors class and then there's a student in a Regents class, and that will be blended together. A lot of parents have said that that's going to change the pace of the class, the level that it operates in, and they view it as a reversal of what their kids are receiving today.
The way that I look at it, that description is really saying that we are diminishing opportunity for students.
I can tell you that's the uniform response of well, I don't know if you're aware, there's a petition out there that, as of last night, 557 parents had signed.
Right.
Specifically about that.
Right. I see it as expanding opportunities rather than diminishing opportunities. Because we're giving a student who didn't have the opportunity previously, doesn't mean that we're subtracting the opportunity from other people who have had that opportunity, other students who have had that opportunity. Opportunity is not a fixed amount. We can expand it to anyone who is looking for the opportunity.
Where did this program originate? There are other districts that have done this, or that was one of the kind of common themes of where, I just wrote down, where did it come from?
There are districts that have been doing this for several years, or for many years actually, maybe even going back into the 1990s.
Any that fit a similar demographic to Kingston?
Well, the one that I'm familiar with is not quite the same demographic as the Long Island School District. And I was introduced to it at a seminar at the New York State School Boards Association 3 years ago, I believe, in Rochester. It's a suburban school. Dr. Padalino, the name escapes me, but I think you know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there are several school districts who've looked at changing, this type of this type of tracking is what I want to call it, and expanding opportunities. But I think, even internally, we've experienced this in some areas where that aren't receiving this type of attention. Our Techquity program at Kingston High School, which is based off of the High Tech High model out in California, as well as our Hudson Valley Pathways, which is a partnership with BOCES, which is really letting students of multiple ability levels participate in programs, having choice in how in what type of rigor they are participating in, and seeing success not only in the students who are challenging something a little different, but also in the students who have already been in those type of programs. So, there's a lot of work out there about heterogeneous classrooms. We look back at our inclusion model with our students with disabilities, and seeing that, I like to use an old phrase where a rising tide lifts all ships. That being said, I don't want to short circuit the conversation, but that being said, we recognize, like you said, Dan, 550 parents who have some concerns, who feel like they don't know enough. We recognize that we have some faculty and staff who are feeling a little uneasy, about some changes, and change is hard for everybody. And we feel that, as an administration, I met with my cabinet yesterday and our high school administration. We feel that maybe we need to provide a little more capacity in the area of our teaching and learning department, and giving our teachers more of an opportunity to talk this out, to work this through. And I think one of the things I talked to Jim about was, we're looking at, and again, I keep using, cliches, where we're looking at pumping the brakes a little bit here, getting more people involved, having a broader conversation, and talking to people about the merits of us making this type of change. So my recommendation to the board, based on my conversation with my curriculum people, is really to slow our roll a little bit, to take a look, talk to our teachers, talk to our parents, talk to our community, do a little better job communicating. As you asked, Dan, those are good questions. Where'd this come from? Why are we doing this? Who's this benefiting? And what's this going to mean to my student, whether they're an honor student or a student who's going to challenge a new level of rigor in the classroom? So I think that that's more conversation that needs to happen over the next several months. And taking a look at maybe pushing this off to the September of next year, not this coming school year, and seeing, making sure that everyone understands what we're doing, why we're doing it, where we came up with this, and getting the feedback. We've been talking about this for probably, well, like Jim said, since 2018, but this specifically since last year of making this change. But that being said, you don't always reach everybody all the time, and I think we need to. So we're working with our faculty and staff. I'm working with my administration, and I think slowing this down and getting better communication, better rationale, and better clarity. Like you said, I think that was the word you used, Dan, was clarity. Better clarity to people. But our overall goal is to give every student the opportunity to challenge themselves at the highest level of rigor, whether it be in English and social studies, or whether it be in extracurricular activities. We look at things like I always think about Steve Gardner and our marching band, largest marching band in the state of New York. Every student can participate in that, regardless of their ability level, and they all work together, and they all rise to a certain level based on the work they have together. So I think that there's still some work to do. There's still some communication to do. There's some parent input we need to get more of, and I think that again, slowing it down, trying to really reduce the fear and concern, and looking at this as something we put into place a year from September, after a really large conversation around this.
Well, I would thank you for that, Dr. Padalino, and I would certainly encourage both the board and your administration to, as you said, pump the brakes. I mentioned in the beginning that this took a life of its own the last couple days. I'm a firm believer, if you see something happening and you're not either sure why it's happening or what's happening, and if you want to sit back and pound the keyboard on Facebook, that doesn't solve anything. We got to have these dialogues. I can tell you that I stopped keeping track yesterday how many people were contacting me. But from a parent perspective, and I'm a parent of an 8th grader who has an IEP, who made the high honor roll for the first time this quarter because he worked his butt off. He earned it. I'm also part of this community, and you know, short of outrage, I think a big part of it is people didn't know what was going on. You just hear these things, and a parent thinks, you know, if I have an honors student and the honors program is changing, my kid's losing something. That's personal to them, and they run with it. Coupled with, you know, we've watched across the nation, right, over the last couple of years, education has become, unfortunately, very political. So there's a high charging energy going into anything. And I can tell you that parents do need more information. They want more information. They want an open dialogue. And I can also tell you, teachers are not happy. I was contacted by 2 people. I mean, I know who they are, but they're not somebody I'm going to walk out of here and call. And I will say that one comment that I heard multiple times from teachers was, why don't we focus on Kingston High School? And I know this is part of that, but, you know, I know there's been a lot of challenges at the high school, and that's a concern to parents and teachers. So that was something I heard time and time again, so I wanted to just make sure if either one of you want to comment on that.
Go ahead, Dr. Paolino.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I mean, challenges tend to get a lot of the conversation, a lot of the press, and a lot of the communication. I mean, you know, as far as Kingston High School, I mean, we don't talk. You know, it's almost like, what have you done lately? But I mean, we look at, you know, our graduation rate. We look at our subgroup graduation rate, our special education graduation rate, our African American students graduation rate, increasing, you know, almost 100% fold over the last 10 years. Working on making sure that our students get across that stage. Of course, we've had challenges. Of course, you know, coming out of COVID, every school district in the state has had challenges. You know, the beginning of this year was a big challenge. We had, you know, people don't see it this way, but we had 2 groups of students, 9th and 10th graders, who basically came into Kingston High School who haven't been to school in a year. You know, or at least in a hybrid model or a hybrid level. So, yeah, there definitely are challenges, both, you know, as far as social, emotionally, and as far as the curriculum and academics are concerned. But I think we're stepping up. We're meeting that challenge. We're seeing a really good change in the school district over the last in the high school over the last several months, getting kids back acclimated to being at school. But back to your point about, you know, the parents having, you know, more interaction, I think you're spot on that, Dan, and that's what we as an administration want. You know, like I said, we've been meeting with the teachers who were involved in this change over the last, you know, year. But I think that they need us to provide them with more professional development, more curricular support, and really more of a feeling that they can do this change. They can take some chances. They can work with every student, and we can make every student as successful as they possibly can be.
And I think to follow up on that, back to the honors program, one of the things that was brought up was that, you know, the kids will, if they opt in, this is kind of a 2-part question. They opt in, they're going to do extra work outside of the classroom. One of the questions that kept coming up, and one parent used an example of, you know, their daughter is a 3-sport athlete, has another activity that is very serious outside of sports. And comment was there's only so much time in the day, and the second part of that question was, does this potential change have an impact in a student's ability to participate in the band or clubs or athletics if there's going to be additional work outside of the classroom? And in addition to that, what kind of support is provided to a student on that work outside the classroom?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think that's a common misconception. The idea that there would be extra work outside of the classroom. Let's start, first of all, any student who challenges an honors program, whether it's our honors classes or our AP classes, is going to have extra work, obviously. Any parent who's had a student who is an AP student knows. I mean, that's a rigorous curriculum. But no, the real concept here is within the classroom, the differentiation of the instruction by the teacher, teaching students. And, we do it at the elementary level every day. I mean, our elementary teachers are experts in differentiating, their instruction to the students that are from. There's no honors third grade.
Right.
So, our teachers, working on being able to differentiate the instructions for the students in front of them, and giving the students, especially when they get, into the high school level, that opportunity to choose and have some voice in what they feel they're able to challenge, and their parents of what they feel they're able to challenge. Everybody knows the parent who wants their student in the honors class who maybe didn't meet the criteria. But they want that opportunity to give it a try. And looking at some of those students who do that, we see great success, even if they're not the valedictorian. We see great success in students challenging the most rigorous curriculum that they can possibly take a look at and really meeting their potential. But yeah, as far as the outside work, of course, in any honors class, in any AP class, there's outside work, but it wouldn't be any different than what it would have been if we didn't make this change. And I think that goes back to what I said about building the capacity of our faculty and staff, building the understanding of our faculty and staff, and getting that professional development for them so they feel comfortable knowing, hey, I got 6 different kids in front of me and 6 different ability levels here. How can I address this in an effective way that really benefits all? So again, I think we have some work to do, and that's why I'm recommending we take a little bit of a breather here, little air out of the balloon, and provide our faculty and staff with what they need, which is our job, to be effective in reaching every one of our students.
Well, I can thank you for that, and I can tell you the balloon's about to pop, so it's probably good to let some air out. Another common theme was, right, so I have very good friends. Her daughter's an exceptional student. She's very serious. She's in all your honors advanced classes now. The concern and this girl's a real high achiever. The concern that a lot of the parents have, right? A non-honor student doesn't have the same focus. I'll use me as an example. I graduated with an 88 average in high school. I didn't do much, right? There's no question I could have done better than that, but I like to have fun. I was a distraction to other kids in school. And that's a concern of a lot of parents that feel like, that might be an impingement on learning. And I know that's kind of a hypothetical question, but I think it's a bigger question than I initially thought it was. So if either of you want to comment on that, as we're almost out of time.
Almost out of time.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I don't want to call them the lower achievers. The students who are selecting to follow the honors curriculum in whatever class, either a combined inclusionary class or let's say that they haven't quite met the criteria, but they advocate for themselves to get into it. They don't want to go into a program or to a curriculum where they're going to fail. In terms of an inclusionary classroom, a behavior problem, is not necessarily constrained to someone who has an 88 average as opposed to a 98 average, in my opinion. But I'll let Dr. Padalino, he's the expert on that.
I think we're, how are we doing on time, Dan?
We'll go a minute over.
Okay.
Let's finish the
Dr.
subject.
Padalino, the last word in the last minute.
Okay, the last minute. Yeah, I think that's really what you're saying about being a distraction, and I think one of the philosophies I guess I continue to think about is just because we're giving something to someone doesn't mean we're taking things away from others. The idea that having our teachers be ready to do this, I think that's the key. Being ready to do this and making sure that the students who want to be challenged are challenged. We really the idea of distraction in the classroom is really about how well do we deliver instruction, and that is in a change like this. It's really important that we provide the teachers with the support that they need, and that's what we're going to do. I think that I don't think anyone would argue that everyone wants to see every one of our students reach their full potential. And I don't think any parent or even any student doesn't want to reach their full potential. I know, Dan, you said you like to have fun, but you like to succeed as well. So we're again, providing that opportunity, but also providing those levels of support. We have to have high expectations and high support, and the support piece is where we need to do our work right now.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming in. I appreciate the dialogue. I would certainly strongly encourage you to pump the brakes because our community wants this, right? We want a sense of normalcy after 2 years of just one challenge after another, and I don't think that a big change is what parents and students are wanting right now, and the teachers. I mean, I'm glad to hear you say that there needs to be more dialogue with the teachers, because I can tell you I heard that loud and clear from a lot of people. So these mics are open every other Friday. I'd love to have you both or one of you back as we continue this dialogue. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Enjoy your Friday, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Dan. I'm willing to come on every Friday if you want me to.
That would be terrific. I'll get in touch with you.
Okay, great.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dr. Padalino and Jim Shaughnessy. Thank you so much for coming in for this last half hour. And it is now 9:01 a.m., and you are with us here at KCR, Kingston Community Radio, and thank you for being with us here at KCR. 41 degrees on this March 25th, and again, thank you for being with us. AM 920, 92.5 FM, and our live streaming on mykcr.org. This programming has been brought to you by the Friends of Kevin Cahill. As a strong advocate of local broadcasting, Assemblymember Cahill urges you to support Kingston Community Radio with your time and donations. Your contributions keep KCR vital and on the air at FM 92.5 and AM 920 and on the web at mykcr.org. Join Assemblymember Cahill and send your gifts of $10, $25, or more to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. Together, keeping KCR alive. And thank you for being with us. And until tomorrow, until Monday morning for a Medical Monday, we wish you every success in growing and developing Kingston and all our neighboring communities. We will see you Monday at 7 a.m. Thank you for being with us. We now return you to Magic 92.5.